What makes a humble family in a small Galilean village special? At first glance, it might seem like just another story, but in the house of Nazareth, the greatest mystery of humanity was lived. God himself chose to be part of a home. The Holy Family not only changed the course of history, but also left us an eternal legacy of love, faith, and hope. What secrets does this unique family hold that continue to inspire the entire world? Join me on this journey and discover it. 1. The roots of a millennial devotion. The history of devotion to the Holy Family traces its origins back to the 17th century, when festivities began to be celebrated in their honor in some regions of Europe. This devotion emerged as a spiritual response to the desire to strengthen family values in a time marked by social and religious crises. It was an attempt to position Jesus, Mary, and Joseph as models of unity and holiness in households. In 1895, Pope Leo XIII officially established the celebration, fixing it on the third Sunday after the Epiphany. This gesture underscored the importance of the Holy Family not only as a symbol of holiness, but also as a practical example for Christian families. The Church sought to reinforce the centrality of the family in Christian life. In 1921, Pope Benedict XV moved the celebration to the octave of the Epiphany, highlighting the connection between the mystery of Christmas and the Holy Family. This decision reflected the importance of contemplating the family of Nazareth within the context of the birth of Christ, the central event of the Christian faith. Finally, the liturgical reform of 1968, driven by the Second Vatican Council, placed the celebration on the Sunday immediately following Christmas. This change not only facilitated its inclusion in the liturgical calendar, but also allowed families to unite in prayer during the Christmas season, remembering the example of Nazareth. Throughout the centuries, this devotion has been a constant reminder that the family is a divine gift and a fundamental pillar in Christian life. Through the Holy Family, the Church invites all households to seek inspiration and guidance in their example of love, faith, and unity. 2. The uniqueness of the name, Holy Family. The name Holy Family carries a profound meaning. The word holy indicates something consecrated to God, what belongs fully to Him. In the case of this family, each of its members has a unique sacred character. Jesus, holy by His divine nature. Mary, holy by privilege as the Mother of God. And Joseph, holy by the special grace granted to him as the protector of Jesus and Mary. In addition to being holy, this family is unique. There has never been, nor will there ever be, another family like it in the history of humanity. This is not only due to the holiness of its members, but also to the unique mission entrusted to them, to bring the Savior into the world and care for Him. This fact confers absolute exclusivity to the Holy Family. Jesus, the Son of God made man, is the center of this family. His divine presence transforms the home of Nazareth into a holy place, where every action, no matter how small, becomes an act of love and worship. This exceptional holiness extends to Mary and Joseph, who, despite their humble conditions, lived a life of full union with God. The term family also highlights their humanity. The Holy Family experienced the joys, challenges, and sacrifices typical of any family, making them a close and accessible model. Although unique, their daily life reflects the same dynamics of love, work, and faith found in homes around the world. Reflecting on the meaning of their name invites us to contemplate the Holy Family not only as a religious icon, but also as a tangible example of how to live a life of holiness amidst humanity. 3. The holiness of a unique family. The holiness of the Holy Family is not an abstract ideal, but a concrete reality built day by day in Nazareth. Each member contributed with their own holiness, unequal in magnitude but perfectly harmonized. Jesus, holy by nature, was the center of this communion. Mary, full of grace, contributed her purity and obedience, while Joseph, just and faithful, completed this holiness with his humility and dedication. What makes this family unique is not only their holiness, but also their singular mission in the plan of salvation. They were chosen by God to be the first home of his Son on earth. This fact confers upon the Holy Family an incomparable dignity and an unrepeatable character in the history of humanity. Their holiness was neither isolated nor unattainable. It was deeply rooted in their daily lives. Simple tasks, such as Joseph's work as a carpenter, Mary's care for Jesus, and the child's growth, were transformed into acts of holiness because they were imbued with love and faith. This model teaches us that holiness is not a state reserved for a few chosen ones, but a vocation accessible to all. Each family, in its uniqueness, is called to reflect God's love in their daily lives, imitating the example of Nazareth. The Holy Family invites us to see our own families as sacred places where God dwells. It challenges us to build homes filled with love, faith, and hope, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. 4. Daily life in the little house of Nazareth. In the small and humble house of Nazareth, the Holy Family lived a simple yet deeply meaningful life. Jesus grew under the loving care of Mary and Joseph, who, through their work and dedication, created a home full of love and spirituality. Joseph, as a carpenter, worked hard to provide for his family. His daily labor not only ensured material sustenance, but was also an act of obedience and trust in God. Meanwhile, Mary took care of the home and Jesus, actively participating in his human and spiritual formation. Life in Nazareth was marked by prayer and communion with God. Every action, from preparing food to teaching Jesus to read the scriptures, was imbued with deep faith. This environment of everyday holiness was a reflection of God's plan for humanity. The figure of the child Jesus, learning and growing within this family, reminds us that even the Son of God experienced the joys and challenges of human life. This fact connects us with him in a unique way, showing us that holiness is also found in the everyday. Nazareth teaches us that it is not necessary to live in a grand place or have great wealth to achieve holiness. In the simplicity of day-to-day life, when love and faith are at the center, every home can become a reflection of the house of Nazareth. 5. Love as worship to God. In the Holy Family, love for God and love for neighbor were inseparable. Mary and Joseph lived this reality uniquely as they saw in Jesus both their Son and their God. Every act of love towards him was simultaneously an act of worship and surrender. In the little house of Nazareth, worshiping God was not limited to prayers and rituals. It was present in every gesture, every glance, every word of affection. Mary and Joseph teach us that loving God is not only a spiritual experience, but also a human experience expressed in love for others. This union between the divine and the human makes the Holy Family a perfect model of how to live faith. It is not about separating religious life from everyday life, but integrating them into a single reality where everything becomes an act of love. The example of Nazareth challenges us to transform our own families into places where love is the center. It invites us to see God in our loved ones and to treat each moment as an opportunity to grow in love and holiness. Just as in the Holy Family love was lived as a form of worship, we too are called to love with a heart that always seeks God in others. In this perspective, the family becomes a true sanctuary of divine love. 6. Nazareth, the beginning of the history of Christian families. It was in Nazareth where a new way of understanding the family began. The Holy Family, although unique in its nature and divine mission, represents the beginning of a model that Christian families would follow throughout the centuries. This model combines the human and the divine, transforming every aspect of family life into a spiritual experience. In the house of Nazareth, the most everyday acts, such as feeding the child Jesus, teaching him to walk, or listening to his first words, acquired a sacred meaning. Mary and Joseph demonstrated that love for God could be expressed through the simplest and at the same time deepest gestures. In this home, the extraordinary of the divine mission blended with the ordinary of daily life. The history of Christian families begins with this example, which is not only an ideal, but an attainable reality. Nazareth reminds us that the family can be a space where the highest values are cultivated: love, faith, work, and unity. In this simplicity, we find the true meaning of Christian life. Since then, Christian families have seen the Holy Family as a beacon of light guiding their steps. The example of Nazareth teaches them that every home can be a place where God is present, where parents become teachers of faith and children witnesses of God's love. Nazareth was not only the home of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. It was the place where a new vision of the family was conceived, one that continues to inspire generations. Today, more than ever, this message resonates strongly, reminding us that our families are the first place where the gospel can be lived and shared. 7. An eternal example for current families. The Holy Family is not only a model for families of their time, but also for families today. In an era where family relationships face increasing challenges, their example shines as a reminder of what it means to live in unity, love, and faith. Each member of the Holy Family offers valuable teachings. Jesus, as the center of the home, shows us the importance of placing God at the heart of the family. Mary, with her humility and obedience, teaches us to fully trust in the divine will. Joseph, with his work and dedication, inspires us to protect and care for our loved ones with courage and love. The family of Nazareth was not free from difficulties. From the birth of Jesus in a manger to the flight to Egypt, they faced trials that required unwavering faith. This fact shows us that even in the midst of adversities, love and faith can prevail. For current families, the Holy Family is a call to rediscover the importance of the home as a place of encounter with God. It is a challenge to prioritize time with our loved ones, strengthen bonds of love, and live the values of the gospel in every daily action. The example of the Holy Family transcends time, reminding us that true happiness is not found in material things, but in the ability to love one another as God loves us. It is an invitation to transform our families into little Nazareths, where divine love is always at the center. 8. The decision to love, an act of faith and will. Loving is not always easy. In a world marked by selfishness and division, the Holy Family shows us that true love is not just a feeling, but a decision that requires faith, will, and sacrifice. Mary and Joseph chose to love God and their son Jesus above all, bravely facing the trials of their lives. Love, as lived by the Holy Family, is an act that transcends the emotional. It is a deep commitment expressed in service, patience, and daily surrender. Joseph demonstrated this by accepting his role as protector of Mary and Jesus, despite the uncertainties he faced. His example reminds us that true love involves renouncing oneself for the good of others. Mary, with her yes to God, teaches us that love requires trust. She accepted the divine mission with humility, knowing it would be difficult, but fully trusting in God's grace. This act of faith and love continues to be a source of inspiration for all who face difficult decisions in their own lives. Today, more than ever, families need to rediscover love as a conscious choice. It is not about seeking perfection, but choosing to love even amidst imperfections and challenges. Just as in Nazareth, love can turn the most ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences. The message of the Holy Family is clear. Love is a decision that is renewed every day. It is an act that brings us closer to God and has the power to transform our lives and our families into reflections of divine love. 9. Joseph, The silent protector of the family. Saint Joseph is a key figure in the history of the Holy Family, though he often goes unnoticed. His role as protector and provider is an extraordinary example of humility and dedication. Without uttering a single word recorded in the Gospels, Joseph speaks to us through his actions, demonstrating that true leadership is found in service. As a carpenter, Joseph worked hard to ensure the well-being of his family. His labor not only provided material sustenance, but was also an act of faith and love. Every strike of his hammer was a silent prayer, an expression of his trust in God and his commitment to his family. Joseph's faith manifested especially in times of difficulty. Upon receiving in dreams the command to protect Jesus and Mary, he did not hesitate to obey, even when it meant fleeing to unknown lands. His willingness to sacrifice his comfort and safety for the good of his family is a powerful example for all of us. Saint Joseph also teaches us the value of humility. Although he played a crucial role in the history of salvation, he did so without seeking recognition. His life reminds us that true merit lies not in being seen, but in faithfully fulfilling the mission God entrusts to us. In a world that often glorifies ambition and protagonism, Joseph's figure invites us to rediscover the power of silence, humility, and fidelity. It is a call to be protectors and caregivers of our own families, following his example of unconditional love. 10. Mary, the first disciple and exemplary mother. Mary, as the Mother of God, holds a special place in the history of salvation. Her yes to God marked the beginning of a new era, and her life as the mother of Jesus is a model of love, obedience, and faith. In the Holy Family, Mary played a central role, caring for Jesus and guiding him with her tenderness and wisdom. Her life was not free from challenges. From the Annunciation to the cross, Mary faced trials that could only be overcome with unwavering faith. However, in every moment, she demonstrated absolute trust in God's plan, teaching us that true love requires sacrifice and surrender. Mary was also the first disciple of Jesus. Before he taught the world, he learned from his mother, who guided him with love and patience. This special bond between them reminds us that the family is the first place where values and faith are transmitted. Mary's figure also inspires us as a model of motherhood. Her unconditional love and ability to listen and understand show us the way to be parents who guide their children with tenderness and wisdom. In Mary, we find a powerful intercessor and a spiritual mother who accompanies us on our own faith journey. Her example invites us to live with humility and trust, knowing that, like her, we are called to fulfill a unique mission in God's plan. 11. Jesus, the divine child who transformed the world. The presence of Jesus in the Holy Family makes it a unique and unrepeatable model. As a child, he experienced the same human experiences as anyone else, from learning to walk to uttering his first words. However, every gesture of his was a revelation of God's love to the world. Jesus, in his childhood, not only learned from Mary and Joseph, but also transformed their lives with his divine presence. Although he was the Son of God, he accepted being taught and cared for by his earthly parents. This shows us that humility and obedience are essential virtues, even in him who is eternal and all-powerful. The life of Jesus in Nazareth teaches us the value of the everyday. Through his example, we understand that the simple moments of family life, such as sharing a meal or working together, are opportunities to experience God's love. This message invites us to value every moment with our loved ones. In his silence and humility, Jesus lived in the house of Nazareth as an ordinary child. Though his divine nature transformed everything he touched, he reminds us that God is present in our daily lives, even in the simplest tasks and the most ordinary moments. Through the childhood of Jesus, we are invited to reflect on our relationship with our own families and with God. It challenges us to see the divine in the human, to find God in our daily lives, and to live with gratitude for the gift of our families. 12. Spirituality in the everyday. The Holy Family of Nazareth teaches us that spirituality is not only found in temples or in great acts of faith, but also in small daily actions. In their home, every activity, no matter how insignificant it seemed, was lived as an expression of love for God and others. Mary and Joseph in their daily lives transformed the simplest tasks into acts of devotion. From preparing a meal to working in the carpentry workshop, everything was done with a heart full of gratitude and faith. In this environment, Jesus grew surrounded by love and spirituality. Prayer occupied a central place in the life of the Holy Family. Whether in silence or through gestures of love, Mary and Joseph lived in constant communion with God. This reminds us that spirituality is not limited to certain moments of the day, but can permeate every aspect of our lives. The spirituality of Nazareth is a call to transform our own lives. It challenges us to find God in the everyday, to live each moment with purpose, and to recognize that even the simplest tasks can be opportunities to connect with the divine. This example invites us to reflect on how we live our faith day by day. Like the Holy Family, we are called to make our lives an offering to God, finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. 13. The family as the nucleus of society and the church. The Holy Family is a perfect reflection of how the family is the foundation of society and the ecclesial community. In Nazareth, we find a model of family life that harmoniously combines love, work, and faith, showing us how to build a home centered on God. The family is not only a place of coexistence, but also a space where values, traditions, and faith are transmitted. In the case of the Holy Family, this role was even more evident, as Mary and Joseph prepared Jesus to fulfill his divine mission. This example reminds us of the importance of guiding our children toward a higher purpose. In today's society, where families face so many challenges, the model of the Holy Family is more relevant than ever. It invites us to strengthen family bonds, prioritize time with our loved ones, and build homes where love and faith are at the center. The church also recognizes the family as a domestic church, a place where faith is lived and transmitted. The Holy Family inspires us to see our home as a sacred space where each member has an important role in God's plan. This model challenges us to assume our responsibility as Christian families, not only for our own good, but also for that of society and the church. In every home, God can be present, transforming it into a little Nazareth. 14. The challenges of the family in the modern era. In today's world, families face unique challenges. From lack of time to crises of values, it seems that the very foundations of family life are constantly tested. In this context, the Holy Family presents itself as a beacon of hope and guidance. Mary, Joseph, and Jesus lived in humble circumstances and faced difficulties, such as the flight to Egypt and the poverty of their environment. However, their faith and mutual love allowed them to overcome these obstacles. Their example reminds us that even in the most difficult moments, unity and hope can be maintained. Modernity has brought new forms of disconnection, from technology to work tensions. But the message of the Holy Family invites us to rediscover the importance of family time, sincere conversations, and mutual support. The values lived by the Holy Family, such as faith, love, and sacrifice, remain relevant today. They challenge us to build strong and resilient families that can face the challenges of the modern world with confidence in God. The example of Nazareth is a reminder that the family is the heart of society. Despite difficulties, we are called to build homes where love, peace, and faith reign, reflecting divine love in our everyday relationships. 15. The eternal legacy of the Holy Family. The impact of the Holy Family transcends time and space. Their example not only inspires Christian families, but all of humanity, reminding us of the importance of living in unity, love, and faith. It is an eternal legacy that continues to transform lives and hearts. At every stage of history, the Holy Family has been a symbol of hope. In a world divided by conflicts and inequalities, their message of humility and love invites us to build a future based on respect and solidarity. The legacy of Nazareth challenges us to look at our own families with new eyes. It calls us to see them as a gift from God, a place where we can grow, love, and experience His presence. This message remains relevant, especially in times of uncertainty and change. Through their example, the Holy Family reminds us that true happiness is not found in material things, but in the ability to live in communion with God and with others. It is a call to rediscover the value of family relationships as a source of strength and hope. In every home that imitates the love of Nazareth, the legacy of the Holy Family is renewed. Their message remains alive, inspiring us to live our lives with purpose, faith, and love. Prayer to the Holy Family. Prayer to the Holy Family of Nazareth, perfect model of love, unity, and faith. Today we lift our prayers to you. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, intercede for our families so that we may live in harmony and peace, following your example of surrender and holiness. O Jesus, who in your divine humility chose to be born in a humble home, teach us to value our own families as sacred places where your love dwells. Mary, Mother of tenderness and obedience, guide the mothers of the world so that they may care for and protect their children with the same love with which you cared for Jesus. Saint Joseph, faithful protector and tireless worker, inspire fathers to be examples of strength and humility, guiding their families with wisdom and love. Holy Family, we ask you to bless our homes, teach us to live in unity and faith, and lead us towards the eternal love of God. Amen.